So it's David the Lawman again. Another lawyer who just can't shut up. That's me. Sorry. So it's a rainy day, and as you can see, it's a mess out here. And there's a movie where there's a great line where Natalie Portman, who's in the movie, states, "God is in the rain." So hopefully there's a lot of God out here, because all of us drivers driving these very heavy vehicles are going to need some God to get from point A to point B. Point B, to me, is my law office, so I can get to battle and go to war with insurance companies, or folks like you. So what do you do on a day like this? If you're in a car and you got to get to point B like me, just be careful, because it takes longer to stop on a rainy day than it does on a sunny day, because all we've got between us and the road is just a little bit of tire. And please make sure your tires are inflated. Make sure they're not bald like me. You know, I'm proud bald and a pit bull, as I said in my last video. So you're thinking, what do I do if stuff goes sideways and some jerk hits me in the rear? Well, 3 C's. Stay cool, stay calm, stay collected, stay in your vehicle. Do not allow the other driver to make a deal with you and say, hey, let's not call the police. Let me give you some money. That's a bad idea. First of all, you got to wait for the police. That's the law. If there's suspected property damage or injury, you got to stay. And I can guarantee you, I've seen so many cases where the driver who was at fault connived and convinced the poor innocent party who did nothing wrong to take some dough, and that they would make it right. They don't. They don't. Trust has to be earned. Don't give it away, especially to a stranger. Don't give it away to me. I tell my clients all the time, they say, Mr. David, we trust you. I tell them, don't trust me. And they look at me like I've got 5 heads. I tell them, let me earn your trust. We give away trust. Some of us give away trust like we give away pennies. And we shouldn't even be giving that away these days. Hold on to your pennies. Because pennies, if you take care of your pennies, the dollars take care of themselves, right? So let me earn your trust. But if you're in a crash, cool, calm, collected, wait for the police. Make sure you give your story to that officer. Because if you're shy and the officer doesn't come up to you, then you can get out of your vehicle and speak to the officer. Get a case number. Sometimes they'll give you a driver's exchange of information, which is really good, but that's the officer's discretion as to whether to give you a card with a case number or the driver's exchange. All lawyers love driver's exchanges because it lays out who the at-fault driver is for the most part, their tag number, their VIN number, and their insurance. Now here in Florida, the dirty little secret, thanks to our legislature, is that there is no requirement that the driver that strikes you have liability coverage. Meaning they can strike you, have no assets, have no insurance to pay you for your pain and suffering, and the only thing they would be legally responsible for is to pay some of your property damage. Now that's nuts, but welcome to the free state of Florida. So the most important thing you can have is make sure your car is properly insured, right? And a story about me. My father was a taxi driver in New York back in the days before managed care, really disliked paying premiums. He disliked it. So he canceled his health insurance 1 month before he was diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer, right? And that did not go well. Now, back in those days, it was the mid-70s. That ended up costing my mother, and we were middle class, working class folks in Brooklyn, $10,000. Now that in these days, it probably would be closer to $100,000 in these days dollars. Now, $100,000 for anyone today is just an insurmountable amount of money that could force you into bankruptcy. So you don't want that. So what do you want? You want liability insurance on your car. You want underinsured or uninsured motorist. Because underinsured or underinsured motorist says, if that guy hits me and it says the bare minimum insurance is required by Florida law, my uninsured motorist will cover me, will pay me for my pain and my suffering and all the other damages that I've sustained in this accident that the other driver would have been held responsible for had they had liability coverage. Now, it's a whole story, and I'm not going to bore you with this on a ugly Thursday, hopefully soon to be sunny one. But if you have any questions about insurance, what kind of coverage you should have, just message me. And again, I practice in Florida, so I can answer questions about Florida and New York. I'm admitted in New York. So that said, have a great day. Be safe on these rainy, crazy roads today, and we'll chat.